It'll be great. But, yeah, that's what I have in my smoothie. And plenty of water. You have to have the water in there, of course, to chop it all up. Mm-hmm. But that's my breakfast. Every morning I'm in town, I have a smoothie. Every morning.
Yeah, I noticed, when I do my smoothies for breakfast, because I'm having them at, 6:30, 7 a.m., is that they don't quite get me to lunch. So about 10:30, I'm ready to eat again. I need some additional protein.
Like what?
Eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, boiled eggs.
Eggs are great. And they don't cost much, and they're a good source of protein. Your job is different than mine, though. I mean, your job is very physical. You're the owner of, 58, 60 properties?
Yes.
And you do most of the maintenance yourself?
I do. Yeah, it keeps me busy, keeps me strong, keeps me moving, so I'm not shining my ass or shining a seat with my ass.
I shine a seat with my ass quite often. That's a problem, but that's how I make my dough. But nutrition is important. We've talked about that before on the podcast. And in fact, the wine I'm drinking now has the necessary lycopene.
Lycopene,
yes. Yeah. That's
and resveratrol.
That's right. Red grapes have that. Well, let me ask you, this is the first time you've been in studio with my new equipment and I did a little bit of remodeling, some cleaning up here in the studio. I still have the picture of my son and I when we climbed Mount Whitney. That's still there.
That was a great trip.
I still have 2 Pikachu on the in the studio as well. Pikachu's a great Pikachu, best of all the Pokemon.
Well, there's a new Pikachu movie or a Pokemon movie.
Oh, Detective Pikachu?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
I'm so happy to hear that we're not going to review the movie tonight on the podcast.
We're not going to review Detective Pikachu on the podcast. No. I did put a picture. I stumbled upon. Look at the picture that I have on the wall, and because this is radio, I'll describe to the listeners what we're looking at. On my wall, I've had for quite some time a photograph that I bought at Venice Beach from an artist. And basically it shows, it's a California-type photo, I-15 going up into the Netherlands. I-15 is one of the mother roads in California that takes you from L.A. to Las Vegas. Then above that is a view of Venice Beach that was taken by an artist named Mike. I bought that years ago. I didn't know what happened to it, and I stumbled upon it in the closet, and it's on the wall as well.
That's a great California classic shot. What you're looking at is sunset over the beach. You can see the horizon of the ocean with this beautiful orange and yellow and reddish hues that are drifting through the pollution of L.A. But above the striped colors, you have a half a dozen palm trees that are just, it's picturesque. Yeah. It's almost as if it would be on the back of Hotel California by the Eagles.
That's a good reference because you've got the tall, spindly palms against the
and I can't see any homeless people underneath them.
I got a text from California Dave last night, and you know him, and he was watching the Democratic debate, just bitching about it. And I said, why are you even watching that abortion? I said, no wonder you have high blood pressure. And his response was, I'm retired now on a fixed income. I have to find cheap entertainment. But he's been trying to get out of L.A. for years. And I think he's going to stay. I said, look.
So why doesn't he sell that 600-square-foot bungalow that he lives in for $750,000 and move to New Mexico?
Well, he tried to do that. And I tell you, he basically, the story he told me, he was wanting to move to Arizona because he was afraid they were going to seize his guns. I said, look, Obama didn't seize your guns. What makes you think Trump's going to seize your guns? No one's going to take your guns because he belongs to 2 separate gun clubs. In fact, I think he has more weapons than some Central American countries.
What if San Fran Nan comes out and says, the children are in danger, the children?
He doesn't live in San Francisco. He lives in L.A., so it doesn't matter. She doesn't represent that area. But I think he was going to move to Arizona, but looked at the houses and looked at what they had. And I said, look, dude, I said, you live in paradise right now. You live in L.A. The only bad thing about L.A. is some of the many, if not most, of the areas of LA are shit. You live in a great area. Housing is expensive. Your house is paid for. You have enough money where it's never going to affect you. Why would you want to move? And I don't think he's going to move. I think he's going to stay. I really do. I really do.
The allure of the city is its convenience. You know,
LA is beautiful. If you've been there, you know.
I love LA. I love to visit it.
Yeah. Well, now if you had a great house in a great area, you'd love to live there.
Except for the traffic and too many people.
Well,
and the pollution. But I would enjoy surfing regularly.
California Day's retired. He can go after the rush hour. Yeah.
I mean, when you get just a little bit north of LA and Malibu, it doesn't get much better.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
In fact, I haven't shared this with you yet, but I'm tentatively planning a trip in October. I had thought about canceling the trip because of they had the big fire there. Okay.
Right.
And it burned everything in Malibu. In fact, the Malibu RV resort where you and I and
where we camped,
Froker stayed, it's burned down.
Oh,
it fried it.
That sucks.
I called them and I talked to them. I said, "Look, how you doing?" And the lady said, "Look, we're fine. We're going to be okay." They're still closed.
Wow,
but they're opening July 1st.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So they'll be back on July 1st, and their prices have bumped up, but that's okay. We've talked about this on the podcast before, but for those of you who don't know, the Malibu RV resort, I first stayed there in 1977, okay, when buddies of mine, we went out to, we drove all the way out to California after high school graduation, had a good time out there. But I've been back several times. You've been with me once.
Yes.
Yeah, and our buddy Froker from he's a transplanted St. Louisan who now lives in Seattle.
Well, he lived in Seattle, right down on the Puget Sound, but now he's moved to eastern Washington in the Lake Chelan area, and has recently become a landlord.
Really?
He has. He just finished. He had a double lot. He had an old style, kind of post World War II, 1,000 square foot slab house, but it had a vacant lot next door. And last time I went out to visit him, I asked him. I said, "Hey, what are you gonna do with that vacant lot?" He goes, "I don't know." I said, "Why don't you build a duplex?" He's like, "Huh, what a great idea." Well, he just finished his duplex and just moved in his first 2 tenants. And in that little Lake Chelan area, they have a lack of affordable housing. So now he has a brand new building that they're 2-bed, 1-baths that are now rented, and he loves it.
He has a happy tenant in there?
He has 2 happy tenants.
Very good. Good for him.
Yeah, and Froker works for Boeing, and with the MAX Air problem, he's excited because he said, "I may get laid off. That means I could have the whole summer off." Now, he's been at Boeing for 30 years.
Yeah.
So when something like that happens, he gets a paid vacation essentially.
So he was on the 737 MAX project.
That's correct.
And production of that has dropped off to next to nothing until they get that problem fixed. Wow. By the way,
now if you recall, hold that thought.
All right.
Is he drove with his camper and his pickup down from Washington State.
Yeah. We turned him into a believer for Southern California. Tell the story from start to finish.
Yeah, so I basically, John and I are good friends, John Froker, and we like to travel and do adventures together. And he's an adventurous guy, a former Eagle Scout, as am I. And so we just put the plans together, and we'll just rendezvous wherever. And I told him, I said, James Strong and I are meeting in Malibu, and we're going to camp at this RV park right overlooking the ocean, and we're going to hike in the canyons, and we're going to eat fresh fish every day. And he said, "I'm in." I said, "Bullshit." He goes, "No, I'm in." I said, "Well, how are you going to get there?" He goes, "I'm going to hook up my fucking camper, and I'm going to drive it all the way down Pacific Coast Highway, and I'll meet you there. In fact, I'm going to beat you there. I'm going to be there before you get there." I'm like, okay. I just thought he was full of shit.
And he did, and he was.
He was. We rolled up to the Malibu RV park, and there's my buddy Froker whips out a bottle of bourbon and says, "I've been working on this for the last 2 days. You want some?"
And he loves it. In fact, he went back. Didn't he have a seminar for a training program or something? Went back down there and drove his RV and stayed at the RV park again?
He did.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I love camping in Malibu. And you think to yourself, well, Malibu's for the rich and famous. Folks,
It is.
It is, but they have campgrounds there. Now, if you want to hook your RV up, it's not cheap, like $130 a night. But you're looking at the ocean, okay?
We paid $12 a night for
No. It was much more. It was $54 a night.
So $54 a night for a tent site that actually was a site that held 2 tents.
Yeah, so you split it.
And a picnic table and a fire pit, which we couldn't use, of course.
Right, because it was very dry then.
Hot showers.
Yeah.
Laundry.
Very nice showers, laundry. There's a convenience store down there where we got a very nice bottle of Chateau de Michel Cabernet Sauvignon that was mislabeled.
It was mislabeled.
And we picked it up for a nice price. But $54 a night, you figure, $54 a night for a tent site? That's outrageous. What you need to consider are two things. First of all, we had 2 tents there, okay? So it's not $54 a night. It's $54 divided by 2.
Yeah.
And this was the primo site on the point, where, in other words, you go to bed at night and you hear the surf. You wake up in the morning and you look at the Pacific Ocean. You see the LA skyline in the background. You will not have a more beautiful, pristine view for quick math. 54 divided by 2, that's $27 a night. Please.
Sunrise and sunset.
Sunrise.
We're directly on the cliffs overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And when Strong says that you can hear the ocean, no, it actually envelops you as you hear the waves crashing on the shoreline for 24 hours. As long as you're there, you're actually lullabied by the ocean. Now, I'm kind of an ocean guru. I love the ocean. I love the way, the feel of it, the spirit, and it embodies you. It surrounds you and gives you power and focus and spirit, because the ocean is very spiritual. And if you've never experienced it, you need to get in it. But to be on the cliffs of Malibu for a week, listening to the surf, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, hiking and backpacking through the canyons, it's a wonderful getaway.
Yeah, it is. And some of the stuff we stumbled upon, we stumbled upon a Buddhist temple in the middle of Malibu.
We did.
And
up near Mulholland Drive.
That's correct. And we went through there, of course, being very respectful. We removed our shoes, went into the temple. It was very cool. And the stuff you find up there is just unbelievable. As I said before, the Malibu RV Resort is closed now. It's closed until July.
1st of July.
July the 1st, correct. And but I talked to the folks up there. They said, look, we're going to be open July 1st, and it's fine. Just we can't be open till then, but we'll be back bigger and better than ever. I then read a review, and that fire they had in L.A. was just unbelievably
devastating.
It was devastating. And basically, I read what was burnt, and everything we hiked through 2 years ago is gone.
The cool thing about
was gone.
Yeah. The cool thing about those canyons is, you think about Southern California, which is essentially a desert. But when you get up into these canyons, you have these, and there are a few natural springs. It's very lush. It's very green. It's very tropical almost. Not tropical like, say, Cancun, a rainforest, but because you have a water source and it's shaded because you're down in a canyon.
And there's never frosts. So the weather is always very nice.
Yeah. But very enjoyable. And in fact, there were several little estates that people had built, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago that were still able to walk through.
I suspect many of those are charred.
Oh yeah, they're toast.
Yeah, they had that fire that went through there, and the name escapes me. They had so many fires in California this year. But I did read an article, and believe it or not, they had such good weather this winter and spring in Southern California. They had rain, a lot of rain, but it never was a torrential downpour. They had